Everyone, it's Tanya Hertz here. We are going to be talking a little bit about teams and team member roles. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And teams, we talked about teams are different than groups. They typically share a common outcome. They share a purpose. They're a lot more interdependent upon one another. It's important to understand the different roles that people typically take when they are in teams. So a role is the behavior that a person is expected to display when they are in a particular group or team. Task roles are the behaviors that directly accomplish or facilitate team tasks. So this is positive things that people do towards the accomplishment of the goals of the team. Now, relationship roles are also very important in a team function and team efficacy. And these are the team building roles. These are the behaviors that influence the quality of the social climate of the team, and the non-positive, the pejorative or individualistic dysfunctional roles are behaviors that benefit the individual at the expense of team performance. So these are the different roles that we typically see in teams: task roles, team builder roles, and individualistic or dysfunctional roles. When you're going through these, you can see these are the typical things that people will do in a team. You have the initiator proposing new ideas, the energizer motivating the team. The social roles include things like the compromiser, the encourager, the standard setter, even a follower, so important in a team. The individualistic roles, they inhibit team performance. Those include things like the social loafers, the aggressors, the dominators, the people who the braggarts, the self-confessors, just constantly telling how they do things so great and they're not thinking about the team, right? So problems can impede group team performance. All dysfunctional roles are problematic, and anybody displaying those dysfunctional roles is impeding the team's performance. Role conflict is another problem. This is a contradictory information about expectations of the team. You have both intra-sender and inter-sender conflict, role conflict. So intra-center, intra with an A, center, role conflict is inconsistent expectations from the same person within the team, intra. Inter-sender is different people who are expecting different things out of the team. You also have inter-role conflict, so different roles all needing to be performed, and it's just not possible to perform all of them necessarily well. Person role conflict is when we have conflict within ourselves about our roles, and we don't the role that we're expected to portray, it violates our value, and that can be extremely problematic. And this is the number one reason why teams do not perform well, and that is the ambiguity of the role. Right? Lack of clarity about expectations about what you're supposed to be doing, and that without clearly defined roles, nobody knows what they're doing. Teams fall apart. Think of yourself as a manager, any leader. All you know, what you do more than anything else in the world is make complicated things clear to people. Right? Take anything that's confusing and make it clear. So norms are informal rules about how we should behave in a group, and norms are important that we establish. They establish both organically, and as leaders we can establish them. They need to be seen as being important, and we're likely to be able to do that and enforce them if people see that they are important for survival of the group, if they are making things clearer, if they're simplifying things, making things predictable, helping people avoid embarrassing interpersonal problems, or expressing values. If they do any of these things, if they clarify anything, people like them. So it's really important when you're setting up those rules and norms that you express how they make people's lives easier. So group cohesion is the sum of the forces that attract members to be in a team, in a group. It provides resistance to leaving it. This motivates people to be together. This is the glue. The glue. Highly cohesive groups interact with and influence each other more than less cohesive groups. Greater cohesiveness does not always lead to greater performance, but we do see that it does lead to much higher levels of organizational commitment. People with cohesive teams have lower absenteeism. There's lower turnover at the companies. We also sometimes see really effective teams functioning even in dysfunctional organizations just because of the people in the team. You want your teams to be cohesive. You want people, working with each other. And this is another reason why, as team leaders, we want to provide opportunities for people to get together outside of outside of the normal team boundaries or work boundaries. So we also need to be careful about problems when people are too cohesive or teams are too cohesive, things like overbounding. And this is when, teams that are working really well together, they start to protect that team and they put up fences around it so that other people can't come in. They overbound, they put boundaries between themselves and others. They don't want anybody messing up what's working well. And that can be an extremely bad thing. They can also suffer from groupthink, right? Cohesive teams will strive for cohesiveness, for unanimity, for the group's overall pleasant attitudes, rather than actually working on the tasks at hand. And so it can be appproblematic. Also, Ollieism can be a problem, and Ollieism comes from General Oliver North. And that's when illegal actions are taken by overly zealous and loyal subordinates who believe that what they're doing is they're doing it to please their leaders. And we see this even when the leaders don't ask for it and they don't know that it's happening. We can see this, happen. So we talked about this before, that different types of tasks make a difference, and the member ability is very important for overall team performance. You need smart people if you want a effective team, particularly when you have tasks that are, well, even additive, disjunctive, it doesn't matter. You want smart people on a team, but it does make a difference when you're looking at whether they're disjunctive, conjunctive, or additive. So disjunctive tasks are when the tasks are not, well, I'll read the definition. This is exactly the member who possesses the highest level of performance or ability, rather, will set the performance standard of the team. So the example I like to give of this is, think about, okay, let's see. Okay, bar, trivia night at the bar, right? Those are disjunctive tasks. It doesn't matter if you have a team of just dummies. As long as you have one smart person on the team, that smart person will set the performance of the overall team. We don't like this. We try to avoid this, but it happens quite a bit. You see this with school projects. As long as you get one A student on there, they're not going to get an F. So they'll force that A to go through for the entire team. Makes managing teams difficult. Conjunctive task is when the weakest link sets the performance of the team. So an example of this would be like, I was just watching Formula One racing, right? The pit crew. It doesn't matter if you have all fast, amazing, smart people on the team. One slow pit crew operator will set the time for the entire team, right? You got to wait for him to change the tire or her to change the tire. Until that person changes the tire, the entire team is waiting. Now, additive tasks, like we talked about before, those are like the Girl Scouts, where every member does their thing, and you add up all of the the end results, and that's the overall team performance. So I'm going to actually, we'll go through this quickly. So the 3 traits that are especially critical in teams are agreeableness, conscientiousness, and extroversion. Remember the big 5, which 2 are missing? There's two not there. Neuroticism is not there, even though it does play a part. And openness to experience doesn't really have an effect on teams. But agreeableness is important in teams. Conscientiousness, this is extremely important because we want people to be working hard and achieving goals. And then extroverted people tend to perform better in teams than people who are introverted. And they tend to be ranked higher as leaders as well. So, let me go back here. And we're going to stop right there. I'll do another video for this last one. All right, we'll see you soon for the last video in this series.